Welcome back, America. This is an incredibly smart show. No thanks to me. Thanks to Tom Sowell and now Victor Davis Hanson, really, who I've come to greatly admire as one of the great, outstanding minds in America today. Victor Davis Hanson, you heard your friend and your former colleague, Dr. Thomas Sowell. He paints a very concerning picture about this nation. What is your general take on what he had to say?
Well, I think he's reviewed his whole body of work for 50 years and applied it to this woke movement, and he's come up with a pretty succinct explanation of the jam that we're in. He's saying that the attraction or the seduction of equality by result is an age-old plague, but in this particular moment, we've given into it. And he's kind of channeling, as he's quoted before, Alex de Tocqueville, that most people, unfortunately, would rather be equal and poor than better off and have some people better off than them, and that politicians cater to that desire and exploit it. And he's spent his entire life trying to show us that inequality is a very complex issue, and sometimes it's important and sometimes it's less important, sometimes it's due to race, geography, but there's so many multiples and factors that the idea that a government would need the power to make us equal on the backside always results in tyranny, death, destruction. And he's devoted his life to trying to explain that to us again and again.
As have you. And you know, Victor Davis Hanson, I don't think anybody's done more to explain the damage of an open border and unchecked immigration than you. And as a matter of fact, you predicted a lot of things that are going on in this country today. You're really an expert on the Athens and Greece, the Peloponnesian Wars and Rome and so forth. Help us understand in context. Is America certain to survive forever, or are we literally taking steps to destroy ourselves?
No country gets that pass from history. In other words, each generation has to believe, Mark, that they're better than the alternative. They don't have to believe they have to be perfect to be good, but they have to be better than the alternative. When you fail collectively to believe that, history steps in and says there's no reason for you to continue when someone else would like your power or your prestige or your influence. And there's certain things throughout time and space that are essential to a country. I think that's why you and Tom Sowell and others are worried. You have to have a sovereign border. You can't replicate your system all over the world. It's beyond the human ability to do so. But in a confined space, you have power to create a culture and a country and a politics and an economy, and we're not doing that. In fact, what's really Orwellian is with this new effort not to allow illegal immigrants to go northward into sanctuary cities where you think they'd be welcome, but in fact, they're not welcome, but they're being forced to go back to Texas. We've redefined the U.S. border in a way, Mark, as north of Texas, and said it's okay if you come across the border as long as you stay in a red state. It's almost like we've ceded sovereignty to Mexico. But all of these things that Tom and you were talking about, and Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, all of the Republican candidates for the most part, they're talking about a systemic collapse, whether it's crime or energy or the economy or the border, that the left finally got their moment. And we've now witnessed something we haven't seen maybe since 1932. An empowered, progressive, hard left, free to do what they want. And the results are in, and they've destroyed most of the big cities in the United States. They've caused the largest migrations in American history out of blue states into red states. They've destroyed the criminal justice code. They've destroyed the southern border. They've humiliated us abroad with Afghanistan. And they've called all of that disaster a success. And we're watching it in real time.
When we come back, Victor Davis Hanson, are we in the middle of a revolution? You've certainly suggested so, but even more than that, what kind of revolution is this that we're in the middle of, if you agree with that, which I think you do? We'll be right back.